ماسك البيت.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Midcard. Today is May 18th. I am your host, the Goat Bams, and I'm here with Joey Wrestling. Joey, how you doing?
Yo, not bad. Yourself?
Not bad, dude. Not well, better than last week.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we no showed, but that's okay because sometimes things happen, and it is good to reset too. So hopefully, better things came to you this week, and I know they did for me. And
Oh, yeah.
we're back. Just got done filming another episode of Three Dudes Brews, so look for that coming next month. Great time, great episode. I think the viewers, people who like that show, are gonna love it.
Oh yeah, Buddy's really excited about it. I'm glad he's doing.
Buddy is very much enjoying going to the breweries, if you know what I mean.
I can only imagine, dude. He loves it. That's something that he likes to do anyway. So him doing a show on it is just perfect.
It works so well. It's great. I'm glad that we were able to get that he's got the a couple people that want are into it as well. With Ed and Costas, they're really into it. I am learning day by day, making sure because it's not live, which makes it easier, but making sure the audio is good, the everyone's in the shot, and it's a fun experience because I'm not a film major, I'm a tech guy, but that only gets you so far. So. But it's a good time. It's something to look forward to if anyone's watching and wants to just see some guys drink beer and talk to a guy who's and talk to a guy who's been working at Smug for basically ever.
Yeah, dude, he's excited about it. I'm so happy to see him like excited like this about stuff. So it's good to see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have our passion project here. It's the Midcard, and then Buddy has his. He loves beer, so like, that's just. It's always been his thing, Buddy. I love beer, and that's what I do. He's always said that.
I love to drink beer, and that's what I love to do.
Hey, man, if it works, it works. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But let's get into it, man. This week in wrestling, kind of a slow week on Monday Night Raw.
I'll tell you what, it was just a slow week for news in general. But I'm very excited for the finale for the King of the Ring and the Queen of the Ring. And I think you look like you were about to. Yeah, it looked like you were about to lead into something.
No. I was a little nervous. I don't like how they do all the matches on Raw until the finals because I used to like that you had 2 or 3 matches at the King of the Ring. You know what I mean? Like, I agree.
Yeah.
Like, don't do the whole tournament in one night, but like maybe the semifinals and finals. Like, it's the King of the Ring.
It does make it weird that it's the King and Queen of the Ring, and there's only going to be 2 King and Queen of the Ring matches on the show. Obviously, I get the logistics. It's, to keep the talent from getting injured. You don't want people pulling double duty and blah, blah, blah. I get it. But no, you are 100% right on that. It feels weird.
It's just something I miss from the old school way to do things.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, that's one thing I thought they did like perfectly right was the King of the Ring was you had like 2 or 3 matches. Those guys at the end of the night, they're exhausted. They're beat down, but you're going to get the best of the best and they're going to win. Whoever wins is the King of the Ring. And that's it. You know what I mean? And they, I want to see how they treat this because in recent years they haven't done it well. Like back in the day, you would see somebody win a King of the Ring, and that would be their platform to superstar.
Oh yeah,
like that would be the next thing. Whether it was Owen Hart getting that rub, or was obviously the big one being Stone Cold Steve Austin when he got the stage.
I remember some
that
bald
was one
guy.
Of the
big,
right. I mean, even Billy Gunn when he won, like he got platformed to the next level. And it was like that was just one of those things that if you got it, they're like, "Oh, that's the guy." You know what I mean? That's the next guy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I would assume that the way that this is played, let's get into it. So it's
I have a theory about what's going to happen.
So let's get into Raw, then we'll get into those matches. Drew McIntyre kicked off Raw, and
you didn't like it?
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
I love the heel, psychotic, obsessed with CM Punk. But since he can't get his hands on CM Punk, he's just going to rip through everybody who kind of has wronged him in this sudden psychotic break that he's having in this obsession with Punk. I
I do
love
like
that.
what Priest told him though. Like
Yeah.
I like the back and forth they had,
Yep.
and I'm not a big fan of Damian Priest, but like he handled that really well. He was like, "Well, you have nobody to blame but
You
yourself."
look in the mirror. Yeah, that was it.
Like,
Was his best. It was his best promo. It was his best promo
right,
since becoming champion.
easily was like easily was the best one that he's done since getting that title, and that's like stuff that's needed because I think we all know he's a transitional champ.
Yeah,
Like he's not going to be a long
it's
term champ.
it's very clear he's going to lose it at the live event in Glasgow. How do you pronounce it? I don't know, but
Glasgow,
yeah,
Glasgow, Scotland. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
very
my
clear
favorite.
that's where. Yeah, it's very clear that's where he's going to lose it.
Right, which is fine, and make the most out of your opportunity when you can.
Yeah. It's still, I just love it, man. I love that he freaks out about CM Punk, the jab where he's like, he doesn't come to smaller towns, so that's why he's not here, and then because he can't help himself, he just snaps and
Right.
goes from trashing Punk to like Jey Uso, and then he goes on to Damian Priest, and it's like at this point, like you don't know, like he could be setting up the feud with Damian Priest where he wins the title, and then his next defense might be against Jey Uso again, and then you know what I mean? Because we don't know how long Punk's going to be out for, how long they're going to push this. So
I don't.
there could be these, or he might lose it to Jey Uso because of Punk.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I
Like
think
there's so many different things.
I think Punk's right around the corner. I think all this building up, Punk's right around the corner. I think we saw at Mania when he
That's the
got
rumor.
more active. He took his brace off and he went at it. I am excited about a Punk return. I love CM Punk. I think that's pretty well known by now. I'm a huge fan. He killed it in his segment the week before. The week before he did unbelievable. Like CM Punk is money.
Yeah.
Like there is no doubt in this business, he is one of the biggest draws this business has ever seen. No matter what company he goes to, he gets ratings, he sells merch, he sells tickets. He is must-watch TV for me.
I agree. I 100% agree. But I also will say I think that might be why they hold off this feud for just as long as they can, because because the longer this goes, the more money they're going to print. And
I think Punk gets the title shot at SummerSlam.
Yeah, well, I see. So that could be a route. I could also see a route where Jey Uso has the title because CM Punk causes the title. Like, I guess maybe that would hot tomato the title. They might not want to do that, but but this is the beauty of what's happening is there's so many different ways that this can go because there's so many different people involved in this title scene. CM Punk is involved by default because Damian Priest is involved with Jey Uso, with Damian Priest. And then there's also the return of CM Punk, who's going to instantly go right back for that World Heavyweight Championship. You know what I mean? So there's so many moving parts to this, and it's just so great because we have no idea what direction they're really going to take it.
I don't know if WWE completely knows. Like, I think they have a general idea where they want to go with it, but I don't think they have that set in stone right now.
It's a Michael Scott special. It's an improv conversation where they just kind of start the conversation and hope they figure out where they're going by the end.
Triple H hasn't steered us wrong yet. You know what I mean? He's dropped the ball a couple times on some minor stuff, but overall he's done.
Yeah, everything seems to be going pretty well.
Good job. Oh, so then right after that Drew McIntyre segment, we get the Queen of the Ring, Io Sky versus Shayna Baszler. Decent match.
I thought this
spectacular, but decent match.
I thought this was way better than it had any right to be. I mean, it
was a good match.
It was brutal. It was like kind of a brutal. I mean, granted, with Shayna Baszler, any match that she's in kind of becomes more of a brutal, more meat slapping meat kind of match, which is weird to use for female superstars, but whatever. Everyone's equal here. I thought it was just way better than it had any right to be. And I'm glad Io got over because I think she still deserves to be pushed, even though she's no longer champion.
Right. And I think that's why they're doing it. Like they took the title off her, but they're still keeping her in the eye. And right after that match, dude, they go into a banger of a match with Kofi Kingston and Gunther.
Yeah.
Like that was a good match, dude.
Yes.
Like,
yep.
I mean, I always know, when Kofi Kingston gets in the ring, it's going to be good. And Gunther's obviously unreal in the ring.
They're two of the better performers that are on Raw right now, and they put on a match as you would expect them to put on. And it wasn't just necessarily like you were pretty sure Gunther was going over, but there was enough behind Kofi where maybe, just maybe,
Gunther
had everything.
I feel like they're heating him up. Like
Oh
it's a
yeah,
slow burn. It's a slow burn. Like he lost the title, but obviously he's going to get a run at the world title eventually. Will he
I
get it?
I
Maybe,
just
maybe not. But
I just wish he was on SmackDown, man. He is the
oh, yeah,
heel that Cody should feud with, who he would eventually drop the title to and flip flop it. Cause like, so there's a good still shot. I forget where I saw it, but like when Gunther gets in the ring, when his opponent's already in the ring, he gives this just like little sly smile where like he enjoys the enthusiasm of his opponents because he's like, that's great. I'm so happy for you for being ready and amped up to fight because I'm going to smack the shit out of you. It's just that little smile and little details in Gunther's character that like I'm a Gunther fan at this point. I wish they
yeah,
would
I
have kept
like
his
him,
name because it does feel a little dirty to be saying like I'm a fan of Gunther, knowing like the name and everything. But I love the character and I'm very excited. I think he's probably gonna win the King of the Ring, if I'm being honest.
dude. Gunther has taken. So I forgot what his name used to be even, but
Walter.
it was Walter, right?
And then
In
it was
NXT
Gunther
UK.
Ludwig or Gunther Kaiser or something. And then they were like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah,
Huh.
maybe
There
not.
was a not very nice person whose this name was, and they dropped the surname pretty quick.
But he's one of those guys that took the name change and just didn't matter.
Yeah, I mean,
Nope, didn't matter.
he's just so good. And in
Right,
the physique change too, where he went from being, and I hate saying this
dude.
with my body type, but being
He was
for a
heavier.
wrestler a little doughy, yeah. And
Yeah,
I mean,
he was heavier.
he's just cut his shit now. It's
Dude, he lost a ton of
yeah.
weight. He looks like $1,000,000.
I
Like
don't
he's
even
a
think it was
lot
necessarily
scarier.
weight. I think he just trimmed body
Yeah,
fat. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
that's
Like he
true.
just trimmed body fat, and it's insane. It's insane the physique that he has now.
Dude, he is fun to watch in the ring. He is
Yeah.
so good. Like he
Yes,
is so
and
good.
he's very simple. It's kind of like Pete Dunne in a
Yes.
sense, where like
Yes.
I love watching Pete Dunne because it's just a very simple form of wrestling, but it's so
I love
clean,
Pete Dunne.
precise, and obviously they both kind of come from a similar background from where
Mhm.
they originated from.
They both
I just
remind me of William Regal.
yeah, yep.
Like that's the style.
Very
You know what I mean?
technical, very technical, technically grounded, more like actually professional wrestling than like professional
Right.
wrestling, if that makes sense.
Right, dude. And that's
William,
I
yeah,
enjoy that.
William
You
Regal
need guys like that on
famously
the
like
roster.
forced Goldberg to actually wrestle in the WCW,
Dude.
back in the day.
Have you ever seen that? Do you remember that match? I
Yeah,
just watched
yeah,
that match
I did too.
recently because I
I did
saw
too.
it. I
I
was like,
think it had to have been on something because if you saw it, I saw it too recently. So it was
yeah, I forget
something
where
had it on.
somebody popped it up on
Oh,
a
it was
podcast or something
was it
like
like the
that, and then I
downfall
watched
of
it.
the it was that the
Oh, it
part of
might
the
have
doc
been, yeah.
the what killed the WCW or whatever. It was like part of that thing,
Yeah,
I
they were
think.
talking about Goldberg, and then
Yeah.
William Regal said they told me to go out there and wrestle with him, and I did the
Yeah.
best I could.
Yeah.
And
And he's like,
he
I
did,
exposed him for yeah. He's like, I
but
exposed him like for like like he could not actually wrestle.
no. And if you're gonna go in a ring with a guy like William Regal, you have to have some kind of skill,
You gotta
and
be
he
able to
didn't.
grapple. Like you
Goldberg,
gotta be able to grapple and chain and yeah.
yeah, Goldberg was a one trick pony.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He
100%.
was a quick match. Looks like $1,000,000. Well, Jack Hamu has amazing strength, but there's nothing to it at
Prototypical
all.
former football player.
Yeah, and he was just like he's one of those guys I can't stand. And again, might be a little biased because of my love for Bret Hart, but he was brutal to watch, dude. Like
Yeah.
Goldberg couldn't cut a promo. All he yelled was, "Who's next?" He got over because of the quick matches, and he was undefeated for so long. But then he took himself too seriously, like he was actually winning these matches.
Yeah, like
Like
he had to
he
protect the
was,
persona. He still
yeah. And
doesn't
then
think he doesn't acknowledge Oscar's unbeaten streak because he's like, well, it's different. It was different time. All right.
right, dude, and it's like I remember watching like Kevin Nash talk about it, and then he was like, "Yeah, we came up with an idea to protect Goldberg losing the streak, but we still had to beat him.
Yeah.
Somebody had to beat Goldberg." And then Goldberg's like, "It's bullshit that I lost. I still should have been undefeated." And it's like, dude, nobody wanted to see you anymore.
Yeah,
Like you
like at some
weren't
point
fun
it's
to
just not
watch.
fun. Yeah.
Right? It's not fun to watch. We know you're going to win in a squash match. You can't do anything else, and you're boring. You're
You either
not
die
what
a
they
hero or you live long enough to become a villain.
right. And then like that Scott Hall taser moment and stuff like that. That's how they
Yeah.
beat him for the first time, and it was a smart way out of it. It's like, yo, you couldn't beat me fair. That's okay, good.
Yeah,
But now
just
go back. Now just kind of fall back a little bit. You know what I mean? And then he ended the greatest of all time's career, which sucks. That kick to the head, that piece of shit.
way too
Anyway,
stiff.
And then we got a nice little squash match with Bronson Reed and Akira Tozawa.
Oh, poor Tozawa.
I love squash matches, but
I
I
will
don't like
say,
Bronson Reed.
The entire work that Chad Gable's doing with the Alpha Academy is I mean, I'm just blown away by how good Gable just literally turns. Like, this was the guy who was semi over being called Shorty G.
Yeah, right.
And he's now playing like a serious, like, heel leader character who, and at some point someone's gonna break it. It's probably gonna be Otis.
I would think it's Otis. The way that he laid into him this week,
yeah,
I think it's Otis.
It'll probably be Otis, and Maxine will probably stay with Gable, and they'll maybe do like she'll, because if she's not getting better in the ring, maybe she'll be more manager, kind of like a Lana type. Maybe she'll get in the ring every so often.
Right.
But that's coming. But it's still it's fantastic. I mean, this guy just doesn't miss when it comes to his character changes. I love it.
He's done a really good job.
Yeah,
like for what he is, he's done a really, really good job with that. We'll jump into that match because right before that, Sami Zayn match was the Queen of the Ring tournament with Lyra. Is it Lyra?
I think it's Lyra Valkyra.
Lyra Valkyra versus Zoe Stark. Obviously, Lyra wins. Good match. Wasn't bad. These matches have been really good for the King and Queen of the Ring. Like they've handled these, they've produced these matches really well, I think.
So this isn't my take, but it's very true. So I will kind of recycle it in a sense. But it's the matches are good because they're highlighting, they're creating a sense of like the stars involved want to win, and you don't know who's going to win. Like the last time they did the King of the Ring, we all knew that Xavier Woods was going to win. And like me as a fan of Finn Balor, like I thought Finn deserved it over Xavier Woods, but like because they were pushing the New Day at that time, and Xavier Woods, I've always it's the only thing I've ever wanted. I don't want to be champion. I just want to be King of the Ring, and it like telegraphed it, and it was just very catered to him. And now you've got guys like Randy Orton and AJ Styles cutting promos about why like they want to be the King of the Ring so bad, and it just has a sense of like, this means something. And hopefully there's like a title shot or some kind of opportunity that comes out of the win, as opposed to them just creating a stupid gimmick that gets, real tired real fast.
The way they're doing it, I feel like it has to lead to a title shot.
Has to, yeah.
Like there's no other way around it. They've built this thing up pretty well. Like they've got my attention with the King of the Ring. Like I'm excited to see it. And it's like, it's good because this is one of those traditional things that I always loved that the WWE did. I love the King of the Ring.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. I love that they have a different aspect for the woman and it's the Queen of the Ring. I like that, but make sure that it goes to a woman that we want to be Queen of the Ring and not just give it to anybody.
You might be disappointed there. We'll see. After what happens later on in the show, I have a sneaking suspicion that someone might be getting. We'll get there, but.
So Sami Zayn versus Otis. Obviously, Sami Zayn wins.
Yep.
Otis gets berated right after, like we were just hitting on by Chad Gable. That was the highlight of the match. Obviously, was the Chad Gable stuff after, and it was he just continues to kill it with this character.
Yeah. It's gonna lead to a split and probably maybe a feud with Otis and Gable. I'm hoping though that it ends with Gable winning the triple threat at the King and Queen of the Ring in Saudi Arabia and him becoming Intercontinental Champion. And then at some point there's a split with Otis and maybe they feud. You know what I mean? Like it's just storytelling that can carry you down the road.
Which is just good booking.
Yeah,
like and like we said, it's a little slow right now, but they're building up for the next few months. This always happens after WrestleMania. Storylines they have to start new storylines, but they can't continue. They can't just stop the old storyline. So they're building off of the old ones and then building new ones for the next 6-9 months.
It's like a choose your own adventure. The multiple arcs and branches and seeds that they're planning. I mean, even with we'll get to the SmackDown side too, but like some of the stuff that happened with LA Knight, Carmelo Hayes, some of the Bloodline, it is phenomenal. The amount of the continuity and the different branching ways that they can go about it, and again, it's because Vince isn't running the show anymore, but it all just flows so well. Like you can tell that things are planned out in advance and not just thrown together an hour before because someone didn't like something and thought something would fail,
And this is surprising because they've dealt with so many injuries recently too, and they've handled it well.
Yep.
Like they're rolling with them. They're not. It's not like, oh crap, now what? It's like they're actually rolling with. They're still utilizing some of the injuries in the storylines and moving those storylines forward, but then they're pushing new people in and weaving. They're doing a good job with the situations that they have in hand because there's a lot of injuries lately.
Yeah, there it is. It's kind of weird. I think a lot of them are people who were nursing injuries that are now just
Yeah,
they're at a point where there's so much talent. And I think there's so much interest in newer talent on the roster that like Asuka's one. From what I have read earlier in the week, I guess the knee injury she suffered like back in March, or even maybe a little bit earlier, and she's just been wrestling through it. Obviously because of the show of shows and some of the storylines, and so she's going to be away for a while. And it's just some of those things where I think a lot of people, especially in the WWE, where you're constantly on the road, a lot of stars are probably nursing injuries, and there's a good handful of some that they're like that are probably getting the opportunity to get off of TV and nurse and take care of some of these injuries because
right.
they have the new talent that they can kind of just sprinkle in to the shows. And again, not to cross brands, but again, like with SmackDown too, like you're seeing, you will get to it with the bloodline, but like that's a whole new thing now,
I
and
have a
there's just
theory about the bloodline stuff.
yeah, I'm sure you do.
It's not anything brand new. It's what a lot of people are saying, but I'm the more that they go into like the way they're building that storyline, there's only one way to finish it.
Yeah, yeah, yep. I think I know what you're gonna say too. But
Right.
we'll
And we'll
we'll
get
get
into
there.
it when we get to SmackDown. But yeah, I mean, the writing's been good. It's just
It
been good.
it has.
And
It's
as
easy
a
to
wrestling
follow.
fan, it's great.
You don't feel like you're getting smacked in the face.
Right.
Where like you have a storyline that just gets dropped because it didn't fit what somebody wanted to do that night. And then
Right.
because they did something different, now that story's dropped and they have to go in a different direction. It just everything just seems to it just makes sense now. And that's what I said in a different life, in a different time, on a different show. I had said just like make it make sense. Like that's all I
Right.
want is it to make sense. It doesn't have to be good because it's not always going to be good. There's not always going to be something that I want to see. But just for the love
No.
of God, make it make sense.
Right. If you're gonna do something, at least do it the right way.
Yeah.
Like, and that's like we talked about with there was a couple other storylines that we hit on that, and it was like, why this just doesn't make sense what you're doing. Like,
Mhm.
just whatever you're gonna do, go in the direction and make sure that we understand why you're there and we like where you're going. Or we don't like where you're going, but at least like in the storyline sense, we understand it.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty simple. Like it's not
It's not rocket science, but somehow they turned it into it.
dude, it's unbelievable. And then we get Becky Hogan. I mean Becky Lynch versus Dakota Kai again. I'm actually liking Dakota Kai in the recent weeks.
I've always been a fan of hers. I
I like it.
always assumed I just think she had some injury issues. And then when she comes back, there's always just other superstars that are already pushed. I hope at some point she gets something of a push or a run. We'll see. I think it might be a little bit past that for
So
her,
that
but
match ends in a disqualification,
mhm.
obviously, and then I'm gonna mess up her name again, but Lyra.
Lyra Valkyra
There it is, because I'm gonna mess up that last name. She jumps in and saves Becky
saves.
Hogan,
Yeah.
Becky Lynch. You know, and obviously that's gonna end up somewhere between those two. Like that seems to be where it's. I would imagine that Becky Lynch.
And I think there's another there. Yeah, it comes later in the show, but I think they've already done their feud in NXT. Lyra's already gotten the rub from Becky Lynch, so I think I I I think it's setting up for another feud that's going to happen after the. All right, so I'll get ahead a little bit, but I think the Lyra
Go ahead.
Valkyra thing is going to set up her versus Liv when
Mhm.
Liv ultimately takes the title from Becky Lynch.
Which I would assume is gonna happen sooner than later.
I think it might be they might have a match at the King and Queen of the Ring. I'm not 100% sure.
I think you're
'Cause
right.
I haven't seen the full card for that, but I'm pretty sure
I think
that's
that's what
gonna
I
be
heard
on
too.
there.
Which it's Liv's time. Like,
Yeah.
don't fumble the bag because if she doesn't win this time, then no, we're gonna get sick of it. And that's just wrestling fans are so finicky, and you already dropped the ball once. You had a chance to give Liv the title, and she didn't get the title. Give her the title. Just give her the title. If it doesn't work, you can always move on, but you have to give her a chance.
Mhm.
Like she's held the title before too, but it wasn't like she wasn't this hot. I don't think.
I mean, no, there was she had. Well, I mean, she's really always kind of had a pretty devoted fan base, but there were there was interest in it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm
It's
not
just
saying
the
there wasn't
issue.
interest. I'm saying right now though
Yeah,
is like
you're right. I get what you're saying. Yeah, you're right. You're right in
I
that
think right
respect.
now is the
Yeah,
hottest that Liv's been wrestling wise.
yeah,
Like and
on the main roster.
right, right. And I mean, she's come a long way because she was awful to start in the ring. Like she was just very easy to look at. That was it, you know. And she's done a great job in the ring.
That's Vince's
So
type.
when I saw the next segment, I wanted to get your take on it. It's the Braun Strowman and JD McDonough thing.
So I didn't see this. So this was there's a chunk of the show that I actually did not see. So you'll have to fill me in here.
Oh man. So Braun Strowman was talking to oh my goodness. I forgot who he was talking to. But he was talking to another tag team, and then JD McDonough comes up to him, tells him to stop sticking his nose in Judgment Day's business. And then Braun laughs at him and goes, or what? You know what I mean? Like, what are you gonna do? And then he goes, just know you've been warned. And then Braun goes, ooh. You know what I mean? And then he turns and then like the segment ends. But I just feel like that's where if we are gonna get the Wyatt 6 eventually, that's where it's gonna start.
So I have a theory with the Wyatt 6 that I can mention now, and will foreshadow into I think because now I'm forgetting to. I'm pretty sure Jay's yeah, so Randy Carmelo was SmackDown, so it was Jay and Ilya on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe with Braun, but I don't know why JD would issue that threat unless he's. I think what that more or less will lead to is JD's making threats that his ass can't cash, and it's going to lead to issues with the Judgment Day where Braun Strowman's going to run through the Judgment Day, and they're going to be like, dude, what the hell? Like, don't put us in your, like we're not your hired guns, so don't go picking fights with guys who are 7 feet tall. Yeah, I think that's probably more likely. So it's virtually confirmed. I know I texted you this at Backlash, like Wyatt 6 is debuting at this pay-per-view, and obviously it didn't happen, but it's virtually confirmed at this point that they will be at the King and Queen of the Ring.
Ooh. We've
also gotten Jey Uso, who has. Give me 1 second. Oh, look at that! He opened the door on his own. Oh, what a good boy. I think it's also confirmed that, or we've seen that Jey Uso has been using the Fireflies and has taken over the Fireflies for his entrance. What I'm thinking is that the Wyatt 6 is going to cost Jey Uso the King of the Ring tournament in some way, shape, or form. I think in some way he's either going to win and they're going to interrupt his coronation, right? Or they're going to interrupt and cost him the match because he's already throwing himself into.
I don't even think Jay gets to the finals.
You don't think so?
Mm-mm. I think Gunther wins.
Oh, that's right. It's Jay and Gunther, huh?
And I just feel like it's Gunther's time.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah,
that's going to be a good match too. But I think Gunther versus Jay. I think Gunther goes over.
Yeah, you're probably right. I didn't think about that.
Now whether they come out and do something, you know what I mean, before, or maybe Jay's got another match and they come out and do it.
I was so set on that theory too, because it is almost at this point confirmed, like not confirmed, but like if they're gonna premiere soon, why is he all of a sudden now like, yeah, the Fireflies have been being used?
Oh, because it was brought up to him though. That's why. It was in the interview, and they were like, "Oh, we noticed that you have the Fireflies in your entrance and all that stuff," and he's like, "I didn't choose it; that it just happened." And then big thing. So I mean, I'm excited to see the Wyatt 6 finally. I'm hoping that it happens at King of the Ring.
Which is realistically, when you think about it, kind of a wild stretch. But in one of the little teaser things, there was Roman numerals that were 5, I think 25, 25 or something like that, which is obviously next Saturday when the King and Queen of the Ring are going to happen. And I thought it was cool, and it was definitely a possible sign. But I was like, I've seen things that have been wrong before, but like so many different. I've seen it so many different times regurgitated on so many different like dirt sheets that like it's pretty solid. And Uncle Howdy made an appearance in the last teaser where they had like a 53-minute Twitch stream, which was the the therapist that was
Yep.
working with Bray before, obviously before he passed away when he was making a comeback. And yeah, it's happening very soon. It's definitely happening a week from today.
They definitely have everybody at the edge of their seat waiting for this to happen. Like, no doubt in my mind, I think everybody's excited to see what this is going to be.
They have to do it correctly.
They have to deliver. With all this build up and this much time, you have to deliver on it. You can't fumble this one. Like, you can't fumble this one. This would be so bad. This would be one of the bigger botches that I can remember of fumbling like a gimmick. You know what I mean? Maybe the gobbledygooker was worse, but that was so bad. But then we get the Judgment Day wins the number one contender title for the tag titles with a little help from my boy Carlito. I'm always a Carlito guy, just to let you know. I think this guy's money. I just always big fan of him, even with his stuff earlier with Cena in the U.S. title, like in the early 2000s. I like that he's sneaking into the Judgment Day because I feel like Damian Priest is pulling away, obviously.
He's going to go face.
Yeah, that seems to be the way it's going. Like, they're really trying to force that.
Well, you're going to need it makes sense to do a face versus face, like championship match. But if he's going to face Drew McIntyre, someone needs to be a face in that match. You don't want two heel characters. Now, granted, Drew could be a heel and have face heat because people still love him. But I think they're going to slowly turn Damian.
It looks like
before.
Yeah, it looks like that's what they're doing. They're turning Damian Priest.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it looks like they're going to replace him with Carlito or get rid of McDonough or whatever. Either way, the Judgment Day is going to change. It looks like they're going through some serious changes right now. But it looks like they're going to get a title match for the tag team titles. Will they win the tag team titles? I don't know. I don't see Awesome Truth losing anytime soon.
At least not to the former champions. Definitely not.
Right. Like, it just wouldn't make sense to do that. But then again, they've surprised me before, so that might be one of those surprise title turns. It wouldn't hurt to have Finn Balor have a title. You know what I mean?
I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, right. Except for JD McDonough. I feel like JD McDonough's trash. But
I mean, he's a good wrestler. I just don't like him in the role he's in. I'm not a big fan of. But yeah, I mean, even me being a Finn Balor fan, I think like I would just rather see Finn in a title feud for the Intercontinental or the World Heavyweight Championship. I don't want to see him lingering in the tag team division anymore. There are better tag teams to highlight than, you know what I mean? It's just something.
I think with Priest turning face, eventually we get a Priest versus Balor match.
I'd like that. Yeah. I just feel like it's probably would go to Priest at that point. So that's why, like, I'm just not a fan of anything where Finn's going to made to get. I just think if Finn re-signed, he's got to be getting a push at some point. It's not like Finn is like a typical mid-card guy. I know he's in the mid-card, but like he was the first Universal Champion. Like, they trusted him enough as a star to give him a new brand title right off the rip.
Right.
So, like, at some point, he was thought of as a top guy or someone who could lead the company. So, like, in my eyes, he's not just like
those injuries, dude. I think all those injuries scare them. He is a Triple H guy, though. Like, Triple H loves him.
And that's my other thing is he's a Triple H guy. Yeah. So, like, I think there has to be a push coming for him at some point this year. Because, again, like, he didn't have to resign. Like, he could have gone somewhere else and made just as much money and probably gotten pushed. Like, being realistic, he could have gone to AEW and probably gotten a pretty good push in AEW because he is he's recognizable to WWE fans, but he's also very recognizable to the smarks.
The New Japan AEW fans. He's very recognizable there.
Yes, and he was a fan favorite of those people as well. It's not like he was just some guy. It's not like he was Luke Gallows or Carl Anderson, a great tag team in the Bullet Club, but like, kind of give or take, like he was the original founder of the Bullet Club. Like he is a guy in wrestling, so
yes,
he do very well outside of WWE. And I just feel like there has to be a push coming for him being loyal and re-signing.
It's possible. I wouldn't hate it. I like Finn Balor. I've always liked Finn.
I'm glad you feel that way. The show would end real fast.
with his Virgil Devitt stuff. I love Devitt.
Yeah.
Like, I thought he was great in New Japan. I thought when he first came to NXT, I thought he was great, and then he had a good run, and then he kept getting hurt, and I just said that's gonna suck because that's gonna
Yeah.
hit him pretty hard, and it has. But I think you're right. I think showing his loyalty, re-signing, staying with the company, not turning his back, not giving up, doing the best with whatever he's given.
Yep.
It has to go somewhere with him.
They still have the demon character like in their back pocket, like they can still resurrect that. Because they don't have really I mean, the Wyatt Six are debuting, but they don't have that weird, ethereal, paranormal, kind of character really. And
so
there's
with the demon thing, I kind of like it, but I don't like how they locked him into that box because that wasn't initially what he likes to do. You know what I mean? Like he likes to switch it up. He always did different characters when he was in New Japan. At big shows, he would paint his face and like come out dressed as different characters, and then he came out as a demon, and it hit. And WWE's like, "Ooh, this is great," and then they just kept riding with the demon thing, and I'm like, I feel like they kind of stunted what he could have been.
I mean, you could still make it so because the thing is it needs to be like it's a spectacle, like it's a thing. So like he's not going to get the same freedom to like change it up because
because they want to sell merch.
Yep, you got it right there. That's
all it is.
Any argument that I could have was basically just rendered invalid right there. That's the reason.
Because they can sell the they can sell the demon thing. That's what it is, and it's recognizable, and they're all about brand recognition with them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Which isn't a bad thing. It's not like a really bad thing to be like that and have your guys. But I just feel, I don't know. I'd like to see a different rendition of it if he brings it back.
Yeah, I can see it.
You know, I'd like to see him put a little bit of a different spin on it because Finn Balor's so talented, dude. He could do whatever he wants, really. Like I think the world of him. I really do.
The only issue with it, and I guess it's probably a good thing that they did give him a couple losses, is that you just knew when he came out as a demon,
he was gonna win.
He's gonna win. So that's also kind of the box you put yourself in, where like now you have this persona that like you don't want to lose and demystify it. But also, if he comes out as that character, like it's over,
right?
You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I want to see it at least one more time. Like I miss his original entrance in general. Like I hate the Judgment Day music. Like I loved I forget what they called it. It was like something breathe, like can't breathe or something. I forget what it was called, but it's just it was a great entrance theme. He had a part that could get the fans involved. I think the fans would love to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
So I really I want to bring it back.
Yeah, no, you're right. And then we get Jey Uso versus Dragunov. Obviously, Jey Uso wins.
I've given it away.
Right. Yeah, I think I did too when I was talking about the him versus Gunther. Dude, I mean, if you didn't know that Jey Uso was going to win this match, then what are you doing? You know what I mean?
I mean, but it is crazy to like Ilya is the former NXT. Like he just dropped the NXT championship. This is like his first or second match on the big brand.
Right. But you just had Jey Uso in a title match.
Yeah, and not for nothing, but they did also have Carmelo lose too, so they're probably like paying dues, or they got to start somewhere. Like they're not just going to start winning, kind of thing, whatever. But it is, I mean, to me, it was one of those things where like I felt like it could have gone either way.
Yeah, probably could have. You're probably right about that. What did you think about the show and all? Like, what?
It was a great show. No, I thought it was a great show.
It was a good show. They're building up obviously for the King and Queen of the Ring. Yeah, I thought they did a good job. Like I actually did.
Oh, you know what? You one thing you did miss is Lyra Valkyra was getting interviewed. Becky comes over because she mentions Becky. Becky's like, "Oh, hey, yeah, cool, thanks, whatever." Leaves the shot. Liv comes in and is like, "Oh, like how do you deal with Becky being such a bitch or something like that?" And then like it pans a little bit to the right, and Becky's like just standing right behind her as Liv's talking all this shit, and Liv turns around and Becky just pops her right in the mouth. It was pretty good.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was.
I think I sipped that because I skipped some stuff. I was like, yeah.
Hey, not everything's for everybody, so I do the same thing.
Speaking of not for everybody, dude, I watched the entire AEW Dynamite show.
That's unfortunate.
No, dude. I'm telling you, it was better than I expected it to be. I wanted to sit here and trash it. I did. And while some of the wrestling wasn't the best, like in the ring, You know what I mean? Like it just and the Jericho got the please retire chance again, which I think is hilarious.
That's gonna haunt
And,
him until
he's
until
like,
the end of.
he's like, I know why you want me to retire because I'll be put into every wrestling Hall of Fame there is, but I'm not ready for that, and you're not ready for that. Like, and then he attacked Hook. You know what I mean? Because he's got the
Yeah,
FTW championship. Um, it is time for Jericho to retire. I
he's putting
think.
Hook over. I think it's one of the last. I mean,
Right.
he might be out soon, but he's definitely this is set up to put Hook over,
Yeah,
which
I
I'm
don't
okay with. Like I
see.
like Hook. Like I actually like Hook. I wish there was more character to it as opposed to just being
Right. Right.
like Taz Jr. and he's Hook. But I do think like he's just smaller guy, but that's kind of how his father was. But
Mhm.
he's got this like little bite, like this like kind of dog in him, where like regardless of his size, you know, like he's gonna fight, and he's a submission specialist. You know what I mean? Kind of like his dad. So
Right. The only
I
thing
like
that
Hook.
he's not as intimidating as Taz was. Like
Well,
Taz had that presentation from ECW that you were
I,
like, oh, this is a big deal.
yeah.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
that's kind of, and again, and you know, it's all fun and games. I don't really want to trash AEW, but it's like one of the biggest issues they have is they don't present their stars or the people they're building correctly. You know, like you could build Hook to be a Taz like guy, but they just either they don't want to or they just aren't capable of it.
I don't think he's ready for it yet. Like when he first came
Yeah,
when
but
he first came out, they had him just beating everybody, like you know what I mean, like jobbers and stuff like that. And they did a good job with him, but I just didn't think he was ready because he did
they still need to
train and all that stuff. But
they still should have tried though. Like even if he's not ready, like you're in competition with the best
right,
wrestling promotion of all time. Like you need to.
he struggled to get over when he first came up. Like he was over, and then it was like he kind of wore it out a
You know
little
what they
bit.
should have done? They should have kept him with this guy up here, Danhausen. I
Oh yeah,
loved
that was great.
Hookhausen. I loved Hookhausen.
Anything Danhausen does, I'm in for. I love
Yes,
Danhausen.
he needs to be on AEW programming more. You want me to tune into Dynamite or Collision or which one am I
I
forgetting?
think
The other
he's
one.
still hurt. I think he's still hurt right now.
I think if he's
I think
not
he's getting
fully
better.
ready to go, he should be close. I mean, it was like a year and a half ago. I think was it a broken leg or broken arm or something? I know
Yeah,
it
I
was like
know
a
he's
major
close.
break,
I think
but
he's close, and he
he should be. But even still, he's not the type of character that needs to be wrestling. Even though he's a very good wrestler, um, he doesn't need to be on. He doesn't need to be wrestling. Like that's not
no, but
necessarily
he's
that
also not
character.
one. But he's also not one of those characters you can just put on TV constantly without him wrestling. I think he needs to wrestle a little bit.
Yeah, but let me put it this way: if they can stick Mercedes Monet in front of behind a microphone every week when she can't wrestle, well, hi, baby boy.
Well,
Spoke a little
she is
much,
wrestling. She's wrestling for
right?
the TBS title
But
at
she
their
has,
Double or Nothing pay per
but
view.
she hasn't been, and she's been in the promotion.
Oh, she's done some wrestling. She's done some
no,
wrestling. She had a few matches.
she hasn't wrestled at all because she's not cleared. She hasn't wrestled at all since she broke her ankle. They brought her back, and she's only been on the mic. That's been one of the biggest stories that I've been reading.
But
Is that
that also being said, she's a big money spent. You know what I mean? So money
all I'm
in, you got to get
saying,
money back.
all I'm
That's why
saying
she's on TV.
is if you're gonna rush Mercedes Monet to be on the microphone and on TV, you could put Danhausen on because there is a large fan base of people who love Danhausen.
While I do agree, and I'm a Danhausen guy, Mercedes came out in Boston and all that stuff, and like I said, they put up a lot of money to sign her. You know what I mean? So like that investment, you have to get some kind of return, and if that's just selling merch for now until she's ready to go in the ring, then that's what you do. That's why I think she's been on TV.
No,
But
I get it.
she
I
isn't
get that.
great on the mic.
But that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Her promo
But you
skills
still have to put her on there.
Yeah, but yes, but still, like if you're gonna do that for her, like why not just squeeze some TV time to get in Danhausen? Like you have, all I'm saying is you have other talent that could connect with people like myself. If Danhausen was featured more, I'd probably be a little more in tune to tune in because again, I like that character. There are characters and there are Britt Baker's been injured, hasn't been on TV. There are people they have on their roster who aren't being featured enough or are injured, obviously. And like they should just utilize.
All right, but their television show was pretty good this week. Like it was.
I believe it.
This is the first one that I've watched. You know what I mean, top to bottom. It started off with Moxley and Danielson, and they were going against Jeff Cobb and Kyle Fletcher. And good match. Obviously, Bryan Danielson. I love Bryan Danielson. John Moxley, he's all right. I don't hate him. I don't love him, but it was a great match. They obviously went over, but back and forth. It started out the show like this is what started was their entrance, and then they just kept. It was great, dude. They did such a good job. And then they had Edge or Adam Copeland call out Malachi Black, which that's going to be a fun match. That's in a cage, a barbed wire cage match. That's going to be fun to watch. I don't know if I'll pay for it. I'll definitely stream it. Well, I bought the first like 10 pay-per-views they did, and then like there was a few that I was like, dude, I'm just wasting money right now. And then some of it was like really tough to defend, and I was like one of those guys going to bat for AEW when they first came out, like. And when they had that exploding ring match, that was the most disappointing thing I've ever felt as a wrestling fan. It was sparklers. And I'm like, oh, dude, come on, bro. Like, come on. In today's world, that's what you do? You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Like, just don't do that.
But that being said, I feel like when I watched it, and I know some people are going to take this as a slight, and it's not meant as a slight. It feels like the early TNA days for me. Like watching their program feels like the TNA days when they just signed Christian Cage and they just signed Kurt Angle and they had Booker T and all. Like it feels like those
Sting
days.
was back and
right. That's what it feels like right now when I was watching it, and I like that because I'm a big TNA guy. Like I love TNA, and I loved it when they were getting hot, and like I paid tickets. Like I think I brought this up in the show before. Like I paid pretty good money to go watch Samoa Joe versus Kurt Angle at Lockdown, and they called it Boston, but it was in Lowell, Massachusetts, and it was one of the best shows I've ever seen live. No matter the wrestling company, that was one of the best shows. And I feel like AEW they have so much talent on their roster. Like when I was watching their roster like this week, I'm like, oh man, I forgot that guy was there. Like, oh dude, like you know what I mean? Because I haven't been watching it because like I kind of got turned off by that product a little bit. But like it was just because Hook came back after that, and then we got this is right where I was like, I forgot he was on their roster, and it was the Young Bucks versus the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels.
Oh yeah.
As a TNA fan, man, there was no better. Like he was money. Like, and
he was
Matt
one
Sydal,
of the top guys. He was actually the top guy in TNA for a long time.
Dude, he was great. And then he was Curry Man. And then he was Curry Man. And but yeah, dude, it was they ended up like firing him, the Young Bucks, after that match. They were like, you put your hands on me last week. You can't do that. You should know that as an executive. Unfortunately, we have to let you go. You know what I mean? Like, and I was like, all right, kind of cheesy, but then they like made like a big thing out of it, and they were like, we're gonna give you 30 days of severance pay. We're gonna do this and that, but you're also being escorted out. Like, so they got the heat for it. You know what I mean? And then like as they were walking out, they kind of threw a shot at the fans, and they were just like, all right, let's get an AEW chant going, AEW, and then just threw the mic and walked out. And I was like, all right, that was good. That's good, Young Bucks. I don't like Jack Perry. I can't. He was on commentary. And he didn't say much, so it wasn't bad. I can't get behind him. I don't see the appeal. I don't get it. Like I just don't. Maybe it's the Punk stuff that like soured it for me. But even then, before when he was Jungle Boy and he was doing that stuff with Luchasaurus, I just didn't see the appeal to him. I don't get it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be hard.
Yeah,
it'll be hard to get a like. I mean, it's almost like giving. Alexa Bliss a lily or Drew McIntyre a sword. Like when you get given something, it's really hard to come back from it. And him being like labeled as Jungle Boy and like the small little Tarzan guy that was thrown around by the giant lizard looking man, it's kind of hard to break that stigma.
Right. And I mean when they were doing all that Jungle Boy stuff, I know they were like, this is a future superstar, and they were trying to build him up that way. And they always said that in the back of the mind to keep it in the back of their minds. But I just don't see it. I don't see that there's like big money in this dude. I don't. Maybe I'm wrong. I doubt it. But not when it comes to
down the line.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not buying it. Maybe eventually they can build him into something, but I'm not buying it. I wouldn't. If he ever had, like, if he was headlining a show in like a month or so, I wouldn't bother watching. Like, that's the kind of guy. He's a mid-card guy, and mid-card guys are very important. I've said it before. I think it's like the most important part of the card because it fills so much. But those guys don't sell the tickets. You know what I mean? They make the show what it is, but they don't sell the tickets. They don't put the meat in the seats.
Yeah.
They'll keep you in there, and they'll sell some merch, and they'll keep your attention. but they're not the ones that get you to buy the tickets to the arena and take the hour drive and park and you know what I mean? Like that's
Mhm.
I don't see Jack Perry as that guy. CM Punk, yes.
Yeah.
Other guys on their roster,
Yes.
absolutely. Like absolutely. And then like they had who's that champ? Swerve Strickland was
Mhm.
on the show, and obviously he's going up against Christian Cage. And I hate saying this because I've seen so much of his work and I'm such a big fan. He might be doing the best work of his career right now.
Christian Cage.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I always reserved that for his early TNA work when he got the NWA title. Man, he is an unbelievable heel, dude. Like he
That's always he's just always been a heel.
he's so naturally good at it,
Yeah.
dude. Like he's so naturally good. And he's such a nice guy outside of the ring. I got to meet him when he came down to Fall River for a show, and he was like the nicest and funniest dude. He was great. You know what I mean? And
I've heard that before too.
to see him do like some of this heel stuff, like he made Swerve Strickland bleed, and like his guys are holding Strickland, and he has a picture just randomly of his family. You know what I mean? Like of his wife and his daughter, and he goes, "Do you think she's proud?" He's like, do you think she's proud of you? And then he like wipes Strickland's blood all over the picture. He goes, I took your blood. Like it was great. It was like a perfect Christian Cage moment. I would love to see Christian Cage get the AEW title. I don't want to see Swerve Strickland. But
Yeah.
if you give me Christian Cage, there's so many different ways you can go
I'll,
about it.
I'll tell you what, if he does get the AEW championship, I will watch the very next show. Because
Oh,
I would tune in for that. But it
so
comes
good.
back to him being a former WWE guy. You know
But
what I mean? There's like a
like
little
we
bit
talked
of
about before, like, and I know like they take a lot of heat for this, and TNA takes a lot of heat for this and all that stuff for signing old WWE guys, but you need to sign
yeah,
WWE
and like
guys.
where else are they gonna go anyway? Too, it is one of those things. Like they
Right.
obviously have to go somewhere, so they're going to the like.
Right. And you can have all these great young talent on your roster, which they do. They're loaded. Like AEW is loaded with talent right now. But you need those house names already. Like
Yeah,
they need to be recognizable to the casual fan, and Christian Cage I think has that still. You know what I mean? Because a lot of casuals know him, and
throwing
they have.
this. Sorry, I just
What?
wanted to throw this. I just wanted to because I want to see if you've heard this before and if you can confirm. Christian Cage, when he came up with the peeps gimmick in the WWE, the whole thing we call everyone as peeps. Didn't he start that because he asked his wife what would be like the most annoying thing that would like
I
bother
think
her,
so.
and
I
she
think
was like, if or he said something like he said something about like my peeps or whatever, and she was like, that's the most
so.
annoying thing I've ever heard, and he was like, I'm gonna use that, and it ended up being like this big thing he did for his heel character in the WWE. That's all I can think. That was just stuck in my head. I had to blurt that out.
I think I broke my vape. But sorry. Yeah, and I think you're right. I have like 10 of them, so it doesn't matter. You know that he also came up with the what gimmick?
Did he?
Well, he was responsible for it. I guess what happened was Stone Cold left a voicemail to Edge and Christian, and I think it was on Christian's phone, and he was just like he couldn't hear anything or whatever it was when he was talking, so he just kept going, "What?" And then he like kept going, and then Christian was like, "You need to do that." Like on the mic, like that's money. And then Stone Cold's like, no way, dude. He goes, dude, that is the most annoying thing that's ever happened. And then so like Stone Cold started doing it, and it got over. Yeah, but it was
I
because
just
it was a voicemail that he left those guys.
I just recently saw a clip of The Rock and Stone Cold in a what battle, and it was just the funniest thing ever. Where just The Rock's going, "Who what? Who what?" And Stone Cold's like, "Oh, what?" Just in the, oh my god, I gotta go back and watch some of those.
Dude,
They were the best. Oh, they were the best.
they were the best, dude. But time moves on, everything moves on. You know what I mean? Like
Unfortunately,
we'll never get the Stone Cold again. We'll never get a Rock again. But we can appreciate. I mean, there's so much talent in wrestling right now.
I still think that Cody Rhodes and Gunther could be the next big heel face, like heel face rivalry in pro wrestling.
It's very possible. It's very. I mean, Gunther's got it all, and Cody's got it
He is
all. And
what he is.
I
what
think
you
we
want
get
in a
Cody
heel.
Rhodes as a heel soon, though. I don't think he stays face.
No, there's no way. He's gonna be a face until the crowd turns on him. He is as hot,
Which is
of a
sooner than
babyface.
later. It's sooner than later.
Maybe, but I just think he's as hot as a babyface as John Cena. He is the John Cena for this generation of the WWE.
Yeah,
That's what he is. He's the next John Cena whoever you want to say was Cena before Cena. You know what I mean? Like he's that next guy that like just unbearably hot action hero figure guy that like the kids will look up to, is going to carry the brand. Like I think that's what Cody Rhodes is right now.
Undertaker did a podcast and he said that Cody gives him heel vibes. And like the more I think about it and watch Cody, I'm like, dude, he could flip this character so quick and be the biggest heel in the business.
Think you're right. But I think even they never really flipped Cena because it would be too hard. But
right.
I just think they see Cody as that next. I don't want to say as like the next Cena because he's not Cena, he's his own Cody. But like in comparison,
I get what you're saying.
That like that face figure, the face of WWE. I think is Cody, which is crazy to say. And tell me 5 years ago you thought that anyone would utter that statement. But like he is the face of WWE, and he is going to be the face of WWE. I think going forward, like I think that's just that's going to be him.
Did you watch SmackDown?
Yes.
All right, I did not. So I did not make it through all. Oh, before I end Dynamite, it ended with Okada versus Dax Harwood, and great match. Okada's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like he is unbelievable in the ring. His promos need some work because like he misspoke when he was, and I was like laughing because obviously there's a language barrier. And you get that, you know what I mean? But man, is that guy smooth in the ring, dude? He is so good to watch. Like it's been a while since I've actually watched like a full Okada match. I watched some of his New Japan stuff back, when he was in New Japan and all that stuff. But man, he is good, dude. Him and Dax had a great match, and then that ends with the Young Bucks and Jack Perry coming out and jumping Dax Harwood. Obviously, FTR comes out. The rest of FTR. And I forget who, and Bryan Danielson, because they're doing a 4-on-4 match. They do like an in-stadium anarchy match, which they've done the last few years. It's kind of their version of like Survivor Series, which I don't mind. I don't mind the way they do it. I like it. It's it's like a different take on it, but you get the same feel, which you need to do. You know what I mean? Like you get the same feel, but it's different, and I like that. And since they had, what's his name? Go out with an injury this week.
Eddie Kingston, right?
Eddie Kingston, yeah, he got hurt.
He actually broke his leg. I'm pretty sure broke his leg. Like it's
and so the Bucks and Jack Perry use that to get heat. They're like, oh yeah, get better, Eddie.
Yeah, they killed him basically,
which is great. You know what I mean? Like use that, that because Eddie Kingston's all right with it. Like use it. That's cool.
Yeah.
Like so then they're down a guy for their 4-on-4 match, and they're like, oh, it's gonna be 4-on-3. So then the Elite just beating the shit out of these dudes, and then Darby Allin came back. Which was cool.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Like the crowd, he got a huge pop. He's very popular. It was a cool way to end the show.
Waiting to see how he does on his own.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting now that there's no Sting. And I think this is a good way to transition him into it. You know what I mean? With a 4-on-4 match, but put him in the main event kind of picture.
Yeah, give him the rub with other top stars and see how he does and see how the crowd reacts.
But don't just throw him out there.
Exactly. Yeah, don't put him in a one-on-one feud. Don't, you know what I mean? Like give him the rub with other guys and include him in a big group and see if he then
they handled it well. Yeah, they handled it really well. I thought I like the way that they did.
Sounds like a good show.
It was a good show from top to bottom.
I said it.
Yeah, from top to bottom, AEW was really good this week. I'm going to continue to try to watch it. It's tough. There's so much wrestling. It's
insane. Collision's on right now, or it's starting, or it's start at 10, or it's Collision
starts at 10.
Yeah, you're
9
right.
to 10. It's either 9 to 10 or 10 to 11. I don't watch it.
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah, I haven't either. But just thinking of it, like it's a Saturday and there's still Collisions on tonight.
Right. And then you have SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite, Raw. Like if that was all I was gonna watch was wrestling,
Rampage.
Then it would.
That's the other one I was thinking of. Rampage.
It would be perfect if that's all I was gonna. And then TNA. Like you have all these. Like I can't keep up with it all, especially with the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals now. Like I gotta watch.
At least we get some time off since the Bruins decided they'd put us all out of our misery.
Oh, dude, I woke up to that news this morning. I was like, not surprised.
I was mentally prepared for overtime. I was like, all right, whatever. Like, probably losing overtime. It's fine. And then a minute 33 on the clock. And I forget who it was off the top of my head now.
I mean, you had to know that this year they weren't going to be good.
They had no right to be where they were.
Right.
They don't have. I mean, this could be a whole show, but like their top line center was Morgan Geeky. A guy who's on, I think, like a rookie deal or like a PTO deal. Like he is at best the third line center, and that's like at best. So they were fortunate to be in the position they are. And if Swayman didn't decide that he was just an all-time playoff goalie, they wouldn't have gotten anywhere near the second round,
Right.
let alone game
Yeah.
6.
So between all that stuff, all this playoff stuff happening, and my Phillies being on the top of the world right now, it's tough to just watch
Hold
every
on. I'm
second.
sorry. As a Red Sox fan, like, let me just show you my eye roll.
Hey, let me enjoy this, dude. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm enjoying this run.
Ranger
We're not
Suarez,
good.
Ranger Suarez randomly having a freaking Cy Young type year. Like, good for you guys, I guess. Yeah, I mean, you need it. You need the pitching alongside Nala and
they've had one of the best lineups. Nola and Wheeler.
Yeah.
At the top of
Nolan Wheeler. Thank you. I was trying to think of Zach Wheeler.
But they've also had 2
Don't
young
test
guys.
Me. I know Phillies. I know my baseball's where I shine, my friend.
They have Andrew Painter and all that stuff, and
Painter's. Is he starting or is he still kind of middling in AAA? He's young. I know he's like very young.
He's only 20
Nick
years old.
Abel's another guy you guys have coming up. Yeah, he's
same age.
They're
2 young studs that they could be really good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm excited. I just thought we'd see Painter earlier, but he got hurt last year, and that cost them a year and a half now. So hopefully
I hope you guys are interested in Kenley Jansen.
I wouldn't hate it.
I hope you don't hate it. Have him. Give us something.
I'm
a realist with the Red Sox, and it's just I want them to sell off some of these like big contracts of guys that like, yeah, you want a closer for you don't want to lose games in the 9th inning, but like
we should do a baseball show.
I'd be down.
We should. Did it before. We're gonna talk about this off air because I would love to do a full baseball show. But let's get to SmackDown. I missed it. I know like the big thing that was supposed to happen was Cody Rhodes and Logan was supposed to sign their contracts.
So this sucks because it is not a championship versus championship match. Logan Paul refused to put his United States Championship up and basically said that Cody had not done anything to deserve a chance at the United States Championship. So it is actually only for the WWE Championship.
That's whack.
Yup. So
the only reason I was interested in that match was to see Cody get the Grand Slam.
So that happened. He had a run in. Logan Paul had a run in, I think, with LA Knight. So like, there's probably LA Knight ended up is either can go into a feud with Logan Paul after this. Carmelo Hayes, he had some heat with. So they're setting up for other feuds that they'll probably strip the United States Championship off of him. With. But yeah, nope. It is only for the WWE Championship now.
So then I guess they kicked off the show. Bianca Belair versus Tiffany Stratton.
Yep, and this was a decent match. But it was obviously Belair going over a million miles away. And Stratton, I don't know what she tweeted out, but she supposedly like there's reports she doesn't have heat, but she tweeted something that potentially garnered a little bit of heat in the back.
I saw that. Yeah.
So,
I don't know what the tweet was, but she has some kind of issue now.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I think she wasn't going to win anyway, but like it definitely didn't help her situation. And she's supposedly one of the next big stars as well. So, but it was, I mean, Bianca's probably going to win. It's either her or Nia Jax at this point. We'll find out next week.
We get LA Knight versus Tama Tonga. Tama Tonga going over.
I'm interested to see what they're going to do because, like, if I can't fathom that I get they're trying to make the Bloodline this big faction still. They're trying to keep that flame, and which is weird because it's a completely new faction now. Like it's the Bloodline, but like it's not because like it's Tama Tonga and what's his Loa Toloa? The frick is
Tongaloa.
Tongaloa. Like it's a completely new faction now, so it's just weird. And I like Tama Tonga. Like I like what he did in New Japan, and I like that he's in WWE with the same name. Mm-hmm. And putting him over LA Knight, I think, is such a crazy move because LA Knight is still so over with the fans, and he's just not getting wins. And there's no way that Tama Tonga is going to beat Randy Orton. So, like, why are we, like, if you're going to feed him to Randy Orton to lose, why don't you give that spot to LA Knight, who should be in that? It's just a weird, I don't get what they're exactly setting up for. I mean, I'm here for it because it's very interesting, but it's just weird with the whole, like, trying to protect certain guy thing where like it's just who are we protecting and where are we going with it? You know?
Right. It is very strange. And then we got the Cody Rhodes segment that we had already covered. I don't like that it's not for the dual titles.
Yeah, it sucks. It's weird.
It kind of steals the fate that Logan's gonna lose.
Oh well, I mean, there was no way he was gonna get to win the WWE Championship anyway.
I understand, but there could have been a shred of doubt. You know what I mean?
Me and you probably feel the same way. I just really wanted to see Cody walk out with both of those titles over his shoulder, like the U.S. Championship over his shoulder, right next to his like weird American nightmare tattoo thing.
Yeah.
Like, I just thought that would have been cool. And then he just goes, "I have done what nobody else could do and slain the Logan Paul that nobody could beat. I really don't want this championship because I don't need it. I'm going to relinquish it, and you guys can have a tournament over it or something." That's what I would have done. If you want to protect Logan Paul, because they weirdly have. I mean, he beat Kevin Owens and freaking Randy Orton, man.
Dude, he brings an audience with him.
Which I get. But that's what I'm saying. So if you want to take the title off of him, which they should, because that title should be featured on programming like the Intercontinental Championship, what better way to strip it off him is to have him just lose the WWE Championship? Like, makes sense he wouldn't beat the WWE Champion, and then just have the WWE Champion relinquish it. Like, I'm the WWE Champion. I don't need this Midcard title, but I did what nobody else has been able to do. I beat Logan Paul. Like, aha, I'm the hero. Now, like, let's put this on someone who deserves it, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean that could have been a way.
I don't know, but it's not going to happen. I literally just wasted 5 minutes of my life explaining that because it's not going to happen.
And then we get Jade Cargill versus Nia Jax, where Nia Jax wins by DQ.
What are you thinking putting both of these two in a match together? Because like Jade's still not looking all that awesome. Like she looks awesome, but she doesn't.
She's still rough around the edges in the
ring. And Nia kind of sucks.
She's awful.
It was really funny though. At one point, Jade Cargill's daughter is at ringside, and like she goes up to her daughter and says something. I forget what it was. And then Nia like throws her out of the way, like beats crap out of her, and then just looks at her daughter and was like, "Your mom sucks." And it was just so funny, like because Nia plays that heel so well, but it was it was just weird. And of course, like it ends in DQ because they can't give it what happened.
I just saw something that has nothing to do with wrestling. I was checking something else, and apparently Tyson Fury lost.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. He was fighting a guy with a weird name, right? Something Sue or something
Usyk.
Like that.
Yeah.
Usyk. I kind of know what I'm talking about.
Wow. I'm going to have to watch that match. I forgot that was on early, dude. Damn it.
Fury believes he beat Usyk, though. Pick of Fury getting knocked.
He got. I mean, I guess Usyk fucking beat him around for a round or whatever it is. But I'm gonna have to watch that. If it was by decision, I don't understand how you can give Usyk the whatever. You can't give a guy all those titles on a decision like that unless it's like clearly obvious that they dominated. That's old
crazy.
That threw me for a loop here. That really threw me for a loop. Holy crap, dude! I'm a big Tyson Fury fan, so that one stings a little bit. Like that. Wow, that one was bad. Holy shit. Anyway, let's get back to wrestling. Yeah,
someone needs to take a cold shower really quick.
Yeah, Jade Cargill versus Nia Jax was just brutal. They're both not great in the ring.
Ends in a DQ. Jade Cargill hits her with a chair. Stiff chair shot too.
Yeah, it looked really stiff. It did look stiff. I couldn't believe it. But I mean, you're gonna get that when you get these two in the ring.
And I mean, Nia has it coming. She's not exactly been super soft with other wrestlers. I mean, she did break Becky Lynch's nose in the middle of the ring and launch Becky Lynch's career into the freaking stratosphere.
Very true. Unintentional. But and then what was the other thing that she did? Ow, my hole.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't that was the thing, right? That was it, right? She fell. Like she took
she took a bump or something and like landed like a split or something. Yeah.
Yeah, she went for a leg drop and like missed, or like somebody moved and she like landed on her ass, and then she just went, "Ow, my hole."
Yeah.
I remember that being a big thing. That's what I remember Nia Jax. That and her hurting everybody. But
literally hurting everybody.
Yeah, like legit for shoot hurting everybody that she got in the ring with. Then we get DIY versus Legado del Fantasma. I don't think I missed much on this, but
it was a good match. It was a very good match, to be honest.
Well, DIY is something special, dude.
Yes,
they've been they are tremendous.
I've talked about it on this show. I
Yeah,
very much am support it. I think they're gonna get a title shot at they're gonna face a town down under at King and Queen of the Ring. Probably gonna lose because I couldn't see them taking the titles off of a town down under this soon. But like, holy hell, would I love to see DIY get a title run? And they're also Triple H guys, so you never know.
I could see DIY getting the titles.
I just the Booker in me, I don't know if I would want a town down under to lose the titles that fast, especially because I think they've only had like one title defense. But in the same breath, screw those guys. DIY is a
Right,
much better tag team.
right, and they are, dude.
They're a real tag team.
And then they have a couple backstage segments. Byron Saxton interviews AJ Styles. He said he doesn't know where to go from here. He's got a doctor's appointment next week, and he'll see how things go. That's got to be building up for something. I don't think AJ Styles is done yet, right? Like he looks
No,
like
I
$1
hope
million
not.
bucks right now. He looks like the best he's ever looked.
Yeah,
I
you
love
never
AJ.
know. Yeah,
That's true. I love AJ Styles so much, dude. Like I just love watching him wrestle. It's so much fun. And then we get Carmelo Hayes versus Randy Orton for King of the Ring.
this was a really good match.
Randy Orton, who I have said a million times over, and I take some heat for this, but if you're not putting Randy Orton in your greatest of all time conversations, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
I feel like he was handicapped by the PG era, and if you put him in the Attitude Era or like even now as a heel, his work in the ring and on the mic and everything, and he's been doing it for 20-something years. He's got longevity. He's got all these different gimmick changes. He's so smooth. He's perfect in the ring. Everything looks effortless. There is no wasted movements with Randy Orton.
Well, in having Carmelo Hayes in that match, the RKO off the springboard, off the ropes was beautiful.
Yeah,
Carmelo took it perfectly because he's athletic. He bounced off perfectly. It just looked phenomenal.
Sometimes they do stuff like that. Like what was that? Evan Bourne. He did the moonsault. He was on AEW too, and he still looks like $1 million. I was like, oh, this dude. And then he did some stuff, and I'm like, wow, he still got it, dude. Holy shit, he still got it. But yeah, dude, I think Randy Orton. Could you see Randy Orton win King of the Ring?
I think he is going to win King of the Ring, to be perfectly honest with you. I initially thought he was going. Because I can't see Gunther losing, but I could see Randy Orton and Jey Uso in the finals for the King of the Ring, and Randy Orton being one of the last feuds with Bray Wyatt, not counting LA Knight, talking about the Fiend, and really kind of what I think is the last real run for Bray Wyatt. A Wyatt Six family intervening with the guy who's stealing the Fireflies against the guy who basically put the Fiend out, put Bray Wyatt out of wrestling, could really bring a lot of juice. Like there's a lot that can go on there, but it probably will be Gunther versus Randy, and honestly, probably if it's that match, Gunther probably goes over Randy. Which sucks, but like at Randy's stage in his career, I think it's the right thing to do to put Gunther over, because at this point, Gunther is, I think, the right call for to win.
I have never even thought about the Wyatt Six coming out to attack Randy Orton until you just said that.
Yeah,
that makes all the sense in the world.
He's technically, if you discount the LA Knight thing, because that was kind of weird and was like a soft launch. Mm-hmm. Realistically, the last big thing Bray Wyatt did in the WWE was the feud with Randy Orton.
Huh.
Yeah.
I like that, dude. I love that idea.
And if Alexa Bliss is part of the Wyatt Six, which may or may not happen, like she's also connected. You know what I mean? Like there's all these threads,
Right. That does make sense. I never even thought about that. That's a great idea. Maybe that's what happens. You know what I mean? Maybe they interfere or attack him after the match.
If it's Jay and Randy, I mean, it kind of writes itself.
I don't see Jay getting by Gunther.
I don't either, but I'm just saying because that's still a possibility. That's still in the world. It's not Friday.
But man, what a match that would be. Gunther Monday versus Randy Orton.
Yeah, and I just think, as much as I do respect Randy Orton, not that I'm never been the biggest fan of Randy, but I respect his character and what he's done. I would put him, in the greatest of all time conversation. Right. I think in that match, especially with Randy having like I don't know if it's real or not, probably fake, the knee injury, because he was favoring his knee, it was wrapped up. You put Gunther over there.
I'm an Orton guy. I've been an Orton guy forever. I'm like a huge Orton guy.
We've talked about it.
I love him, dude. When you watch him, dude, it's so effortless. like in the ring. Just
Yeah.
like even that roll power slam that he does, like everything is smooth and
You
like
know,
that drop, like everything.
I saw a video where when he's going to do that like quick like that quick power slam, he'll clap every time before he delivers it. So when he throws someone against the ropes, if he doesn't clap, it's the signal for them to either dodge or hold the ropes. If they turn to bounce off the ropes and he claps, that
It's
means
power slam.
that means they're gonna take it.
I like that.
Yeah, and
Makes
there's a
sense.
lot of examples of it.
One of those behind the curtain things. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yep.
Like, but yeah, dude, he's been doing it for like 20 something years. He's like a 14-time world champ. I think if there's a guy to break Ric Flair's 16-time world record, that's the guy.
He's the guy. Yeah.
He's never left. You know what I mean? He could have. Let's be real. Randy Orton is a good looking dude, right? He looks like $1 million. He could be in Hollywood.
Yep. I agree.
He's had his chances. He never wanted to do anything else but wrestle. And he's just delivered on like heel face. I mean, I think he's better heel.
And he's given his basically his health and body for the business too.
Right, dude. And he was the youngest world champ at the time. Like he was just he's done everything in this business. He would deserve it.
Did you see the promo at the end of the show?
Uh-uh.
So when the Bloodline comes out to confront him, he gets the mic and he just starts ripping into him, and he's like, I'm gonna shove my foot up your ass next week. But like, that's not what I want to highlight. I don't know, maybe he was like all hyped up for the match. Dude, he drooled so much. There was so much drool. You have to watch it just because it's almost like obscene. Like he was like a rabid dog. Like just the amount of drool that was coming out of this dude's mouth. I'm like, Randy, like easy, bud. Like easy, bud. You're gonna have a heart attack.
He does that though. He gets himself really worked up.
Yeah,
he always does it, dude.
But he like sold the aggression well, which is kind of the point too. Like it worked well. But it was funny, just seeing so much drool coming out of his mouth, spit flying everywhere.
I was just looking up some of the news for the week. I don't think there was really much out there this week.
No, it wasn't like a heavy, like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened kind of thing. Just a lot of just stuff with the White Six.
Right. And I'm excited to see that. Like, I just want it to be done right.
Week from today.
Let's hope. Because we thought, you and I both thought it was happening in the last pay-per-view.
I'm pretty confident it's happening on Saturday. They're getting pretty, like, the Twitch stream, that was like a 53-minute stream thing. Like, they're getting more, like, instead of just like little things, it's like full-blown vignettes and streams, and like it's getting too big for it to not culminate at King and Queen.
Oh, so yeah, that's the big the other big news is what we've been talking about forever, and you've been thinking that it's going to happen, is Drew McIntyre versus Priest at
Clash the Castle, or not Clash the Castle, but whatever.
What I'm reading is the dirt sheets have that Punk is going to cost Priest the title.
Huh. Well, I mean, you cost Priest the title to make sure that Drew has the title, because you can mess with Drew, right, and force him to get you a title match or get him to drop it. You know, like it psychologically, I could see that working. Like it'd be a really interesting wrinkle.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
like it completely makes sense to me to do that. I was just there was also another thing that Undertaker's been doing a lot of shows lately, apparently, and he's had so much shit to say, which I find him intriguing.
Yeah,
because like for like 30 years, right? We didn't get anything from we didn't get anything out of the Undertaker besides Undertaker character, and now we're getting everything. He's just unloading. And I guess he said that he did not enjoy the corporate ministry. He says, but how much can I actually push back in a situation like that? I didn't like it. I thought as soon as it became a corporate ministry that it all got watered down, which is fair. Do you remember the corporate ministry at all? Like
very faintly. I was still pretty young at that time.
Like I do remember them kidnapping
Stephanie and putting her on the cross or whatever. Yeah, like I remember that, but I think that was still before they were the corporate ministry, because then like Shane came in and it got kind of weird.
The Ministry of Darkness was one of those cool factions I always enjoyed with Midian and Viscera.
Yeah.
And even Boss Man did some great work there. Taker was great. It just brought a flashback. The only time I've ever feared for anybody's life inside of the ring was when they hung Big Boss Man from WrestleMania 15 from the cage, and they just like he was just.
It's like, oh, they actually killed him.
I was like, oh my God, he's dead.
It's a real dead body.
My dad was like, no, he's not dead. He's fine. And then he looked at the TV and goes, oh my God, they hung him. Dude. It was like those things that I remember from like child, dude. Oh man, that was so. We got to do another pay-per-view. You want to do a pay-per-view randomizer?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's end the show with that.
We're gonna do it live here. All right.
Hopefully, it's like a late '90s WWE. Like,
all right.
If it was like 99 Bad Blood, I'd love that.
That's what I'm gonna ask right now. You want to do WWE, ECW, or WCW?
I did
WCW last time, so we'll do WWE. We'll do WWE since we did WCW last time, and then No Way Out 2001.
That's actually, if I remember correctly, that was a really good pay-per-view.
That was the first one that came out. I will tell you the card right now. And
I think that's a really good pay-per-view.
It looks. All right. I'm just pulling up the card right now. Event. Oh.
Yeah.
So we have Rikishi versus Matt Hardy in a singles match. We have Big Show versus Raven for the Hardcore Championship. I love Raven.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever talked about him. Oh my God, the wrestling mind on that dude.
Yeah,
like he was He was one of my favorites, dude. In WCW and ECW, I loved him. His WWE work was all right. That's gonna do with him. Match. No, and I mean,
and he was a WCW guy. Yeah,
right.
And he was a WCW guy.
And then we had a fatal 4-way for the Intercontinental match. That was Chris Jericho versus the man who I will never name, Eddie Guerrero and X-Pac. It's Chris Benoit.
I was gonna say the guy that you won't name. Does he start with Chris? Does his first name start with C? I kind of figured that.
Yeah,
that's great. That's a great.
So let's talk about Chris Benoit for a second. Great wrestler in the ring, horrible personality.
Yeah, I'd love to. I really hope that the whole setup thing is real, because I'd hate to think that, which is probably fake, but like if that, what he did is so horrific that like I pray that it was a cover up and like there's really some other crazy story out there that we'll never know. Because like,
yeah,
I'll tell you. So I saw Armageddon in 2005 live. It was at the Dunkin' Center, and it was when Chris Benoit was having his best of 3 with Booker T, and I was a Chris Benoit fan. I wasn't like a huge fan for him, but like I liked watching him wrestle. I liked his career, but I'll never forget. It's one of those things like you don't forget like his music when it hit, like being live there, like the bass, and I like Our Lady Peace, so like I like that song, like whatever's a good song, and like it just hits, and it was just that was one of the moments from that show where I was like, it was a great match too.
I just can't stand that wrestling fans constantly want him to be in the WWE. You can't put him in the WWE Hall of Fame. Stop asking.
Yeah,
that's he murdered his son and his wife.
His entire family.
He deserves to not exist. In a corporate setting like that, like until something else comes out proving that he didn't do it, he did it. That's how I feel. 3 people died in that house. I heard Paul Heyman say this. 3 people died in that house, and 2 didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
Piece of shit. You know what I mean? Just as much as big of a fan as Aaron Hernandez as I was when he was a football player, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
You murdered people. You're a piece of shit. You took lives that
you don't have a right to do. Yeah, you
have
don't
no
have that
right to do that. You have no, and especially a young kid and your wife. Like
it was your child. Like they should feel the safest with you, and
and you took advantage of it and killed him. Like that's not fair. Like that's not right. And I hate when wrestling fans are like, oh, Chris Benoit. And it's like, first of all, you probably weren't even a Chris Benoit. Nobody was like Chris Benoit was boring. Like, he was great in the ring, but that's all he had. Like, he was great in the ring.
Yeah, he was not a good orator, so to speak.
Bryan Danielson is better in the ring than Chris Benoit was.
Oh, that's very, very accurate.
Like, why are we even talking about Chris Benoit like he was the greatest of all time? He couldn't even shine some of these guys' shoes nowadays. Bret Hart was better than him in the ring. You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
also, that doesn't even need to be said.
right, but some people like, oh no, he was great. He wasn't the greatest. You just remember him for horrific things and think he got a bad rub for it. He didn't get a bad rub for it. Like, until something comes out and proves he didn't do it, he did it. And
Yeah.
he doesn't deserve any accolades or any recognition or anything like that. Like, his
I agree with
work,
that 100%.
you can enjoy his in-ring work and like say, hey, he did have some great matches. He had some great matches. You're absolutely right. Other than that, there's nothing great to be said about that piece of shit in my mind. That's just me. You know what I mean? Like, I just hate when people online talk about it. I'm just like, shut up. Like, just shut up about it. It's so, wrestling fans annoy me. There's like a section of wrestling fans I just want to punch in the face. It's just so bad. So then we get Stephanie McMahon Helmsley versus Trish Stratus. I will watch anything that Stephanie's in.
Yes.
I love Stephanie McMahon, dude. Always have. We get Triple H versus Stone Cold in a 2 out of 3 falls. This is a banger of a pay-per-view.
I'm telling you, dude. I remember
this is a banger of a pay-per-view.
I remember this being a good pay-per-view.
Steven Richards versus Jerry Lawler. That should be interesting.
Okay.
Ooh.
I think The Rock is there's a championship match with The Rock in this, isn't there? Yeah.
Triple threat tag team tables match for the
so like, this is easy. It's going to be Edge and Christian, the Hardys, and
well, you got 2 of them, right? Yeah.
Yeah, 3D. Bubba Ray and Devon, right?
You got 3D. You got Edge and Christian. Who's the third team?
Is it Road Dogg and Billy Gunn?
You're gonna love this. You're gonna mark out for this.
Scotty 2 Hotty?
It's the Brothers of Destruction.
Yes, you are correct. Yes.
It's gonna be great.
Oh, I can't. Yep, I'm about to go watch it now. Songs are probably losing, so I'll cry first and then get some.
And then it's The Rock versus Kurt Angle for the world title.
I think I've been seeing, because there were promos leading up to this where Kurt Angle was like, where the Rock and Kurt Angle are in like the back, the locker room, and the Rock's like, close your eyes, dream. Kurt Angle hits the ankle slam. He's like, yeah, the ankle slam. He's like, and then he puts the Rock in an ankle lock. Yeah, the ankle lock, and it's one. And he gets the Rock a tap, and he's the WWE champion. And he's like, now open your eyes. It's just a dream. And he just starts mocking him, and it's like, oh my god, it's so good.
This is going to be a banger of a pay-per-view.
Yep.
It is. Pay-per-view. We've got lucky twice.
Yeah, I think this is the luckiest so far.
This is hands down. This is going to be unbelievable. This is going to be fun to watch. Do you have anything else in the rest of the world? I think we covered like every big story.
I think we marked out pretty hard. I think I got it out. I've been 2 weeks of anticipation. I think we got it. We got it pretty good.
Yeah, dude. And we will. We're gonna watch this pay-per-view. We're gonna talk about it next week. I can't wait for it, dude. This is gonna be a lot of fun.
Hell yeah.
This pay-per-view is going to be so good.
I knew it. I had a feeling because I can remember the poster for this pay-per-view. Like, I remember this just being an overall great pay-per-view.
We definitely lucked out.
Yeah.
And then maybe the next time we'll do an ECW one and we'll just rotate different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll do what was it? Nights Remember 99 or something like that? What was their famous one? I don't remember which one it was, or New Year's Eve 99 or 96. I forget, but yeah,
we'll definitely talk about it.
Yeah,
but I can't wait for No Way Out 2001. This is gonna be a good show to watch. This is gonna be a lot of fun, man. And I love that it's so available to us now. Yeah, like it's not like the tape trading days. You know what I mean? Like streaming platforms are great. Like we
just go to Peacock, just push a button.
And that's what I'm gonna do right when I get out. I think I'm gonna go watch it, dude. Oh, with that being said, I am the Goat Bams. This is Joey Wrestling. Thank you for joining us on the Midcard, and we will catch you guys next week
on the flippity flip.